Hello all, my name is Jennifer Flynn. I'm the HMIS Administrator here at the City of Boston's Department of Neighborhood Development, and welcome to the hopefully quick 5 to 10 minute video on the window into the warehouse's cohort functionality. Cohorts are being used in a number of working groups at the City of Boston, in particular the Chronic Working Group and the Vets Working Group, and will probably be used as we start rolling out our new YHDP Youth Homeless Demonstration Program planning process as well. Cohorts are replacing D&D's Google format. Cohorts are basically our by name list functionality. It is a very flexible tool that has been built into the warehouse that is allowing us to kind of generate a list of clients who are either active in a certain program at a certain time or have certain characteristics that can be grouped together, or they're a member of a certain defined subpopulation and we need to be working with them. So again, I'm going to give a quick tour. We are in our warehouse staging site. So the data that you're going to see is fake data, but it's based on real client data in our live HMIS warehouse. Also, I'm not showing you the full kind of data collection capabilities of the cohorts because it is so flexible and because different groups are using it differently. It's really just going to depend on which working group you happen to be tied to. And how your group will be using cohorts. But I'm just going to show you the basic functionality and point out a few key pieces of information and where they come from and how they're being used. So again, I'm an administrator, so I do have a few extra links here on my screen than you may have, but you'll be going to cohorts here. And then when you get to the cohort page, you'll see all the different cohorts that you actually have access to. So cohorts are not available to everybody that has access into the window into the warehouse. You are specifically granted access to a cohort because you are working with that client. And again, cohorts are really our kind of case conferencing, for lack of a better term, feature. So again, that's why some security is locked down on that. I'm going to bring you into our test Chronic 2008 cohort functionality. This loaded fairly quickly because it had a small number of clients. The more clients that are listed in the cohort, it may take a little bit longer to run, but it's been running fairly quickly. So, have a little bit of patience. And here's a cohort list. So cohorts are very much look and act like an Excel document in some respects. There are columns that are pre-populated with information that is found in the warehouse. And then there are other columns that are direct data entry that are either entered during work groups and case conferencing, or sometimes updates happen kind of out at the field at the case managers as things are going on with the client. So right off the bat, this alert column is a dynamic column and is regularly populated with the data from the warehouse. Currently, this alert is set to show for no homeless service days in 90 days. That means that the client has not been seen in a bed program in 90 days, depending on your cohort and in which group you're working with. Some have a smaller time frame that they're working with, 30, 60 days, some are 90 days. So again, it's just going to depend. But this is actively being updated as the data is updated in the warehouse. Rank, you may or may not have a column for rank, and this is entered, dynamically here with the case conferencing crew, and it really depends on who they're going to be working with and prioritizing at that point in time. Last name, first name obviously comes from right from the warehouse, as well as age and gender, and static days homeless. So these are the client's days homeless as of the date that they were added to the list. There is another column that would say cumulative days homeless, and that is actually, another dynamic kind of daily updating list. So it just, again, depends on which work group you're working with, which kind of functionality they're working with. Should also say that you can click the headers here, and just like in Excel, they will reformat themselves, and reorder themselves for however you need to look at them. You can also use this search feature here, and you can just start looking for who you want to. And again, I apologize on the staging site. Maybe it's not so bad on your screen, but it's a little faint pink box here on the actual live HMIS website. It's a much more vivid color that alerts you to your data. You can, again, just like in Excel, change the size of the rows here and the columns if you need to, and you can click and tab through. I am clicking through and tabbing now, or you can use your arrows, and now I'm arrowing through each of these columns. Columns like Housing Search Manager are free form that you can type in, and Agency are also free form, but you can select from some specific drop downs. Some other fields, again, these are all, I'm just going to kind of skip over what the fields mean because they'll be different for each cohort. Most of them have notes though. You can select here to add a note, click in, you want to add a note. Well, it would help if I added the note. Add a note here for training. And you can click on the note and save it. And then when you come back, you can just hover over here and you'll see the most recent note and who it was supplied by. And Elliot, our friend here, has added a note here, and I was just doing a first draft of this video, and this was the first note I wrote. Some more fields here that are, again, pulled through from the warehouse. Are they currently enrolled in a sheltered homeless program? So shelter, transitional, or safe haven. Are they in a street outreach program at the moment? This is based off of the program start dates and that they have no end date. So again, it is very important for data timeliness because others are also using data from the ground level to try and coordinate clients' housing and services. They enrolled in a permanent housing program. Active means that they are just active here on this list. Depending on how big a cohort list is, the work groups may decide that they're only going to chunk things up at a time to kind of, narrow down their field. So they may be putting people inactive and active back and forth. This last scene here, again, is pre-populated from the warehouse, and this pulls off of not their program enrollments, but their services. So last scene could be a day service out at, they showed up for a shower at St. Francis House, or it could be a bed over at the Women's Inn the other night. So it's truly the services, and that's more of a verified and a consistent where we know folks are on a regular basis, as opposed to sometimes some open enrollment dates that may not be cleaned up yet. Cohorts, we do have the ability to kind of bring in if a client is on different cohort lists. There obviously may be. We could have a chronically homeless veteran who would be on both the chronic list and the veterans list and the chronically homeless veterans list. That person may also end up, sadly enough, being a youth that could be on a youth by name list. So we're just bringing this information here, again, to try and pull in as much information in one place for a client and for the case managers and shelter workers to be able to have at their fingertips as possible. Has a consent form been uploaded and confirmed by staff at D&D that allows kind of full sharing of other documents? Had they had a coordinated entry assessment score done, and what was that score? This would be pre-populated from HMIS. Are they a member of a household, and who are the household members? You would see other household members and their ages and enrollments if that was the case. And then I have this ability to delete somebody off of the cohort list if they happen to we're supposed to be making it. So that's just some basic information about the cohort itself and really kind of how it functions. It's fairly intuitive. Granted, some of the columns and the information that may be being asked may not be as intuitive, but the functionality of cohorts is. And then again, some of that stuff will be fleshed out in your different working groups as it happens. I just want to note here, again, just like Excel, we have a scroll bar here that you can move back and forth. If this was a larger list, there would be one here as well that you could scroll up and down in the list. You can change the text size if you need to. You can make it a little larger, or you can make it very large if need be. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe you guys also have the ability to download this cohort list. And if that is not the case, then you can all tell everybody in your cohort meetings that I was wrong. This will download into an Excel file that you can be using if needed. We ask that you really don't, because this does contain, some sensitive information. So if you are downloading this, then you need to know that the responsibility then becomes on you to protect all of this information and not on D&D and the warehouse. At this moment, when the cohort functionality stays in the warehouse, it is in a secure HIPAA protected environment. Once you download this document, it no longer is in a secured environment, and then it is on you and your agency to make sure it stays secured and protected. That is all for my little tour of the cohorts. I'm hoping that I didn't go over 10 minutes. I'll know in a minute. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Jennifer Flynn, JENNIFER.Flynn, FLYNN, at boston.gov. Or you can also contact Kadra Adderley. She's the HMIS coordinator, and she is Kadra, KADRA, Adderley, ADDERLY, at boston.gov. Thank you.